Oh yeah, baby. Twin, how you doing, folks? It is the Doug Rice Show, 6:30 in the evening. I am Doug Rice. Well, I am wearing the gear. That's what I do. We have an exciting evening for you. This evening, let me tell you, this evening is going to be an evening spent with me, Doug Rice, 6:31, 11:20, 23. Thanks so much again for looking at me. I'm back, and I'm still black. No, I'm a Negro. All right, anyway, so here's the deal. My wife and I were talking, as we tend to do, 21 years, in this marriage, this thing we call love. And, she watches the show. And she remarked on the weather that she saw. She saw weather that was, pretty extreme, if you know what I mean. And over the last 7 days, as I have done my research, I've found that we are in the last days. Now, what I mean by that is the earth is said to be going through what are called birth pangs. Pangs, birth pangs. The birth pangs are what women experience during childbirth or slightly before. I'm only speaking from transference, not, of course, experience. And so there is a causality involved in birth pangs. There is an initiation, if you will, a catalyst. And so it is with what we are experiencing, not just here on the planet, but also in the realm of space. Yes, we can look to our own star to see that it is itself going through birth pain. Now, what do I mean? In the center of this galaxy, there was an occurrence, some sort of event. That event emanated from the center of the very galaxy we are within. If you want to know about this, I encourage you to go to a YouTube channel called Suspicious Observers. Write that down. Somebody in chat. Hopefully the Trina's there for that. But Suspicious Observers on YouTube. Now, let me explain what this does. This guy has kind of a compound in New Mexico. He calls it the New Valley of the Sun. I don't know where he got that from. We're here in Arizona. We got heat. But be that as it may, I recommend this channel, okay? And the reason I do is because he touches on the touch tone that is an event that occurred in the very center of the galaxy. And that event, ladies and germs, brothers and sisters, has been felt as a reactive force throughout the entire galaxy. All of creation in observable viewings of humanity can observe the reaction of sustenance, of reality to that event that occurred in the center of this galaxy. Now, it is reverberating through the center of the galaxy. It is making itself felt. And as it ripples through the galaxy, the first thing they've noticed is that the sun seems to be affected. Now, that sun, whether you know it or not, I'm going to educate you this evening. That sun is the life force of all things on this planet. And from that sun emanate the rays that keep everything upon it alive. And without that sun up shimmering there, you'd not be able to survive. So, that being said, everything being vibration and energy, everything being associated with frequency, as I've said before, you look for God in between, if you know what I mean. So that being said, what's going on the planet we're on? What's happening as a result of this event? Well, let me not relent. I'm going to share with you a few things, but first, we're going to take a look at, I'm hoping I'm doing this right. I think I am. Yeah. We're going to take a look at a few events that have occurred over the last week. 1 week exactly, starting from last Sunday, which, as my calendar says, was the 12th. And from the 12th, we're going to creep through the days up till yesterday. So that's going to be 1 week. And you are going to help me determine if this is just a one-off, if this is just nature doing its thing because nature wants to do its thing, or if this is something else. And I have some suggestions. Here's why this is important. My wife said, gotta be human beings that are causing this. I say perhaps a causality, maybe, but there's also the touch tone in the center of the galaxy. But we're going to discuss things that you may not know about that can, in fact, affect the weather on this planet. And in fact, we're going to talk about an accord that was reached in the 50s between nations that outlawed weather weapons. That's what we're going to do. And I hope that you do like, subscribe, and share. You can find the way down there. Just do it. Just get to it. Please make sure you do so. We're brought to you by TWID. Sports gear, apparel, skincare. TWID! It's a brand. I like saying that. It's a brand. Don't you ever forget it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen in on, this starts the 12th. And like I said, folks, last days is what we are witnessing. So let's take a look. All right, here we go.
Hello, friends. You're on the Last Days channel. Thank you so much for your engagement and support. And so, a review of events for November 12th and 13th. South Brazil. A powerful tsunami has hit southern Brazil. Suddenly a thunderstorm began, a squally wind came ashore and huge waves rushed in. Their height exceeded 3 meters. The water flooded all the buildings on the beach. Vacationers had to flee in terror from the advancing sea. The disaster caused widespread damage. The current dragged and overturned dozens of cars, destroyed residential houses along the coast. According to local media, there are no casualties or fatalities as a result of the tsunami. Now the entrance to the territory of the coast is temporarily restricted. People are asked to postpone long-distance travel and follow the messages of emergency services. According to meteorologists, heavy rains and hurricane winds are expected in Brazil in the coming days. Los Angeles, California. A major fire broke out on the 10 freeway in central Los Angeles. Pallets under a bridge caught fire and the flames quickly spread to part of the crossing. One driver happened to be in the center of the scene and captured eerie footage that showed the bridge drown in puffs of black smoke. Police and rescue workers arrived at the scene and restricted traffic on the highway. Evacuations have also been carried out. At the moment, there is no information about the victims and the cause of the fire. Grindavik, Iceland. 2 magnitude 5.2 earthquakes struck Iceland, causing severe shaking and destruction. Administrative buildings and residential buildings were severely damaged. One of the key roads to Grindavik was closed due to damage. Sinkholes appeared in the vicinity of Grindavik and the ground rose several meters. Local authorities declared a state of emergency and evacuated 3,700 residents of the town, given the threat of a powerful volcanic eruption. Scientists say there is indeed a risk of an explosion, and after the earthquakes, a magma dam about 15 kilometers long was formed. Most likely, magma can come out of its southern end, which is located near Grindavik. According to experts' forecasts, The eruption itself may begin in the next couple of days. Volcanologists have no specific data on the location of the eruption, but the accumulation of magma underground at a depth of about 3.1 miles indicates the possibility of a volcanic eruption. Seismic activity has been ongoing since late October. Anchorage, Alaska. A winter storm has hit Alaska and caused serious consequences in the state's largest city, Anchorage. Record snowfall caused power outages. Schools have been closed and roads temporarily blocked. At the moment, traffic is unsafe on some stretches of road, and there are reports of falling trees. Up to 60 centimeters of snow has fallen over the past few days, which is a record for Anchorage. Authorities have declared a state of emergency in the community and the surrounding area. About 23 centimeters of snow has fallen there in 24 hours, which is also a record for such an early winter season in the last 30 years. Pas-de-Calais, France. In France, in the department of Pas-de-Calais, severe flooding continues. Local authorities have declared a red level of weather danger. Water rushed into the streets. Sewage systems cannot cope with the volume of water. Schools and universities are closed, and transportation and airports are operating intermittently. Major highways in the region are inaccessible. Thousands of residents have been forced to evacuate flooded homes, and many have been left without power. Rescuers are trying to pump out the water, but so far without success. The rains are still continuing, so those who are in their homes are asked not to leave their homes and not to try to fight the elements on their own, as the water can carry infections. Istanbul, Turkey. A storm and heavy rain hit the city of Istanbul the night before. During a strong thunderstorm, lightning struck the suspension bridge Yavuz Sultan Selim, which connects Europe and Asia. A bright flash illuminated the suspension structure and its surroundings. Immediately after the incident, according to media reports, authorities stepped up security measures at the site and launched an investigation to assess possible damage. Roofs were torn off in many parts of Istanbul, and roads and streets were flooded. A truck overturned due to strong winds. Maui, Hawaii. Water in reservoirs on the island of Maui, for mysterious reasons, became poisonous pink color.
All right, let me stop there. I mean, hold it, folks. Take that in. Now, if you've just come in, if you've just caught up with what we're doing, thank you. That is absolutely something that needs to be talked about. 1,400 earthquakes in the last 24 hours in Iceland. Folks, when I saw this is when I thought to do this live. I literally saw this and said, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. And again, we're witnessing last days, right? In front of us. I just wanted to say that because look at this.
Initially, experts assumed that the matter was an algae bloom, but laboratory tests did not confirm this. Now scientists think that halobacteria are to blame. Due to the ongoing heat wave, the level of salinity in local rivers has increased, and as a consequence, this factor has become decisive for unicellular. After all, halobacterium feel perfectly well in salty water. Now experts ask residents and tourists not to approach the reservoirs and not to taste the water, as it can be extremely dangerous for the body.
Now, some moron, just from hearing that, will make it a quest in his life to go taste this water and die from it.
How long the pink color will remain is unknown. So far, scientists are observing the bizarre phenomenon. Jammu and Kashmir, India. In India, the fire apocalypse happened right on the lake. Toward morning on Saturday, houses on the water there that were moored near the shore caught fire. According to local officials, the fire turned at least 5 houses on the water into ashes and at the same time burned 3 other shore huts. It took firefighters several hours to put out the blaze. Thankfully, no one was killed. The causes of the fire are being investigated. Bursa, Turkey. On the night of Sunday, November 12th, a large fire broke out on the first floor of a business center in the Aslus district in the Turkish city of Bursa. The fire spread to the entire building, and it took local firefighters several hours to bring it under control. According to preliminary reports, no one was injured as there were no people in the building at the time of the fire. However, the fire destroyed not only the structures of the building, but also hit 2 cars parked near it. The area of the fire was 300 square meters. Specialists began to check the level of air pollution. The causes of the fire are being investigated. Sicily, Italy. The Italian volcano Etna, located on the island of Sicily, after several months of calm, has again shown its activity. From the highest crater in Europe rose a powerful plume of steam, and the volcanic eruption reached a height of 4.5 kilometers above sea level. The fallen ash covered several towns, including Milo and Zaffarana. Despite this, the nearby Catania International Airport continued to operate. However, the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology imposed a code red for aviation. Dushanbe, Tajikistan. 2 earthquakes were recorded on the territory of Tajikistan on November 13th. This was reported in the Committee for Emergency Situations and Civil Defense. The first earthquake was recorded at 0:54 local time. According to the Geophysical Service of the National Academy of Sciences of Tajikistan, the epicenter was located 215 kilometers northeast of Dushanbe city, 15 kilometers from Tajikabad district. The intensity of the tremors was 4 MSK in the epicenter and 3 MSK in the region of Tajikabad. The second earthquake occurred at 8:34 local time. The epicenter was located 20 kilometers to the northeast from Dushanbe city, 17 kilometers from Varzob district. The strength of the tremors was also 4 points in the epicenter and 3 points in Dushanbe. According to the data provided, no destruction or casualties were recorded. Carpathians, Romania. On November 12th in the morning, snowfall started in the mountainous regions of Romania, which led to the fall of several trees and hampered traffic on high mountain roads. As recently as this week, it was dry and warm. Local authorities have warned of possible snowfall in the Carpathians, and the National Roads Directorate said that cars traveling on high mountain roads should be equipped accordingly. The Bistritz Directorate also warned of the risk of accidents and the closure of some road sections. Rescuers are scattering anti-slip materials on the roads. Local authorities also reported a snowstorm on the Tihoca Pass, where up to 10 centimeters of snow fell. Santa Cruz, Bolivia. in the east of Bolivia are trying to cope with forest fires. Simultaneously, 12 fires are burning in the department of Santa Cruz. Local residents were frightened by a natural phenomenon, an ash tornado, which occurs when wind whirlwinds suck in the products of combustion, smoke, fire, and ash. The flames also engulfed part of the Noel Kempf Mercado National Park, which covers an area of 16 hectares. After the flames approached residences, Indians from the village of Buena Vista rushed to evacuate their community. Authorities in the Santa Cruz region requested a helicopter and military assistance from the government.
All right, folks. Now that is step and stage one of this exercise of this thing we're going through. Now that was last Sunday, Monday, I guess. 1 week is what we're focused on, and it appears it's everywhere. But what's most striking is Italy. They mentioned, a global, and it seems interesting if you just see it one day. We're going to couple all the past 7 days into last days, which is what we are watching. Last days, and we are in the middle of it. We are witnessing last days. So, do me a favor: like, subscribe, share. We are at a precipice of the development of this program, the development of this show. I hate saying program because you already programmed. We are in the development of this deprogramming. All right, the development of this deprogramming has hit a stall due to circumstances I am not able to withstand without assistance. And so below you, there are giving links, the places that you can go to support the Doug Rice Show. Cash App, Venmo, Patreon. Cash App, of course, is everybody prefers Cash App. But I want to do this every single day as long as I can throughout the day. I think I have the stamina. I think I have what it takes, but I need your help, for goodness sake. So do me a favor as we go through the last 7 days of weather, and we're going to investigate this even further. But use what you see below and support the Doug Rice Show, sponsored by Twidware. We're all trying to keep our heads above water while still here. And 2 things you need are information and gear. So that's what we provide. Me, Doug Rice, and Twid. The guy that was on last show, if you didn't know, we had a manhood moment. That's what we have designated it. I think it was quite informative. It focused on Diddy and his current circumstances. Don't get bent out of shape when you see me doing something you're not used to seeing me doing. There's only one way to increase the viewing, and that is to be as diversified as we can. So that's what we're trying without crossing any line. No? Okay. All right, so what did I tell you we were going to do? I said we're going to talk about some things involving the weather as well. Now, the weather, whether you know it or not, is a controlled edifice. It's a controlled thing, if you will, supposedly, by man in this respect. In the 50s, there was an agreement sought between and agreed upon between various nations to not develop weather weapons. So that is what they said. No weather weapons. They did not want to develop weather weapons. And I believe, as I looked this up, that weather weapons was an agreed upon no-no. And I think since then, the weather has been weaponized. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you why I say the weather modification is real. There's a book that some may or may not be familiar with, and it's called Angels Don't Play This Harp. Now, harp is what most describe as a weather weapon. Harp is a weather weapon in Alaska, as they had mentioned earlier in this first clip. And it is said to use the electromagnetics of the earth and the manipulation of those magnetics to cause certain buildups within the atmosphere that can be directed here and there and far and near. And those weather patterns created by those electromagnetic edifices are then strewn across the earth and causing mayhem and havoc and such and whatnot. And thus, they also have what they consider a weather weapon that is underneath the earth that can cause earthquakes. Earthquakes is another form of weather. I didn't know it's a geological form of weather, a geological form of the stasis of the environment surrounding the planet. And so I pay particular attention to the HAARP weapon because I read the book. I read the book about whether or not HAARP, this rather benign, structure that they have put upon the earth, is it what it says it is? Is it a weather weapon or is it a testing facility? Well, I would play the video, but I don't know that I have the permissions to do so. As I said, what we are looking at right now, it is last days. That's what we are viewing. That is what we are looking at. Now, we saw the very first few days of the week. That was the 12th and the 13th. What we're going to look at now is going to be the 14th and the 15th. So pay strict attention, folks, as we do. I'm going to start it from the very beginning. And we're going to witness this. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Now we're going to play this, and we are going to hear what they are talking about.
Friends, you're on the Last Days channel. Thank you so much for your engagement and support. And so, a review of events for November 14th and 15th. Sicily, Italy. In Italy and Sicily, the volcano Etna is erupting, as reported by local TV channels. The eruption occurred in the southeastern crater. The height of the eruptive column was about 4.5 thousand meters above sea level. At night, many tourists heard a strong rumble and did not even realize what was happening. Such a powerful eruption has never been here before. Volcanic ash covered 2 settlements, the towns of Jar and Riposto.
Now, they will naturally go over some of the repeated info, but it still bleeds into the following days.
The authorities did not have to close the local airport, but residents are asked not to leave their homes and do not approach the volcano. Now Etna is gradually reducing its activity, but it is quite possible that it will start erupting again. Alps, France. In November, snowfalls began in the Alps in France. Snow has already covered the French resorts of Les Arcs and Val Thorens. The depth of snow sometimes reaches 150 centimeters. Powerful snowfall left almost 50,000 residential houses without electricity. Because of the snow wires collapsed, because of which there is no electricity in the homes of the departments of Upper Savoy, Isère, and Savoy. It is impossible to get to the affected areas because of blocked roads. In some places it is still snowing. Ireland.
Uh-oh, here we go.
The Irish Meteorological Service is warning of potential danger to life due to the strong wind gusts brought by Storm Debbie. More than 100,000 homes and businesses have been left without power, while bus and rail services have been disrupted. A red alert level has been declared in 10 of 32 counties, and schools and preschools will be closed until the red and orange alert levels are lifted. Wind gusts of up to 31 meters per second and falling trees have been reported on roads in various parts of the country. The Irish Meteorological Service predicts that the storm will pass sharply and quickly and advises the public to wait it out at home if possible.
Now, I want all of you to take particular notice to the fact that as we go through these last days, what we'll see, last few days, actually, going to be 7 days. This is going to be 14, 15. We already did 12, 13. This is 14, 15 last week. And they're going around the globe, okay? And what you're going to notice is it just gets progressively worse and more urgent and a lot more wind, a lot more rain in strange places. And what's more peculiar, in my estimation, is that they are not reporting this in the mainstream media here in the country. They're not, in my opinion, they treat Americans, most who are too obtuse to look any further than their next Happy Meal. They won't look any further than what they're spoon-fed by MSNBC. They won't look any further than what they are mesmerized and hypnotized by Fox News. And there's not too much fair of information that you can peruse. But if you search and you look, you can damn near put together the book, okay? If you look too close enough, you might even get shook. I don't know. What I want trying to do is get on with the show. We're going to keep going. This is Ireland, folks. They're not accustomed to this. They're not used to this. You'll see. Just walk. They're not used to it.
Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, Russia. On Tuesday, November 14th, the main department of the Ministry of Emergency Situations in Kamchatka region reported about the earthquake with magnitude 5.2, which occurred near the coast of Kamchatka. The epicenter of the earthquake was located just 85 kilometers southeast of Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. There were also reports of tremors from Vilyachinsky urban district and several settlements of Yelizovsky district. There was no information about casualties or tsunami threat in the region. Chapico, Brazil. A powerful fire occurred in the city of Chapico in Brazil. The incident happened at a fuel storage plant. During the refueling of one of the tanks burst into flames, and up went a huge column of fire. Employees of the enterprise were immediately evacuated. Some eyewitnesses claim to have heard explosions. Thick black smoke and acrid smell of burning spread to other regions. 20 fire brigades are fighting the blaze, but the column of flames is still rising high into the sky. A highway has been temporarily closed in the affected area. Residents are asked not to leave their homes and to close windows tightly. All the reasons for the incident are yet to be clarified. Iceland. In Iceland in the coming days may be a volcanic eruption. This is evidenced by a series of earthquakes and the rapid spread of magma underground. The Icelandic Meteorological Office said that the eruption could start at any time in the next few days. The risk of an eruption on or near the Reykjanes Peninsula has increased due to the size of the underground magma intrusion and the speed of its movement.
Now, look at that, folks. Look, folks, now, pay attention to this, okay? These folks have been here for a long time. Long time. Now they have what appears to be magma several hundred meters just below a town that's been there for so long, and they've dropped a section of the town along the path of the magma beneath it. Unfortunately, it's sunken several meters. Let me tell you what they've said. The town is irreparable. It is not able to recover. So all of the people in the town, the structures, all of the homes have deteriorated. And you have to ask yourself, as you see it all over the world, now don't confuse this particular magma flow with the volcano that's happening over in Italy. And again, this is all on the 14th and 15th of this month. As we watch last days unfold in front of us, just take a look, folks. Like, subscribe, share, please give to the edifices down there, please. I need a new pair of shoes. Not really.
All residents of the fishing town of Grindavik, which has a population of about 3,000, have been called to evacuate. The Reykjanes region has experienced several eruptions in recent years. The Weather Bureau predicts that the latest eruption will occur southwest of Grindavik. Johannesburg, South Africa. South Africa was hit by a thunderstorm that brought golf ball-sized hail. Residents around Johannesburg experienced an infernal phenomenon that caused damage to some homes and cars. In the Midrand neighborhood, several cars lost their windshields. The storm lasted for several minutes and ended with heavy downpour that flooded the streets. Fortunately, there were no reports of fatalities or injuries. Repair workers are now busy dealing with the aftermath of the storm. Kuril Islands. According to the press service of the Sakhalin Region Emergency Situations Ministry, on Wednesday afternoon at the Apico volcano, located on the North Kuril island of Paramush.
Okay, let's stop for just, hold on now. Hold on, look. Folks, what are we doing here? What are we looking at? Are we stupid? Are we this obtuse? We can't be this benign, this, I don't know, myopic. We cannot not see what we see clearly. Now, volcanoes come and go, right? Volcanoes come and go, right? But not volcanoes all over the world at the same time in different locations. That means there is something beneath this planet's surface that is either agitating or something has agitated the magma, the framework, the structure, the stability, the foundation. And if you do subscribe to Suspicious Observers, as I would hope you do, you will learn quite a bit about a cyclical event that is said to continue and relent. It's called the Harrington event. You might refer to that, 1850 something or so, just before Negroes were let go. Isn't that odd? They say there's a repeat of that event that may it present itself here to the planet, and a lot of it stems on what's happening to the sun. Now listen, folks, listen. The sun is said to be vibrating. Now, you can see it shimmer using your cell phone in some respects. There are some cell phones that pick up this slight vibration, but what's more important is that NASA, the deceptive, false, fake space agency, okay, is measuring the sun, and as everything does, it too has a frequency. You, as you sit there staring at me dully, I'm sure, no, as you sit there staring at me, you have a frequency. They are learning to tune into individual human frequencies, resonance, something that you carry with you that is a unique only to you. We're not the same. Stop. We're not. We're as unique as each molecule in the universe is unique. Then let's just stop. So obviously the volcanoes that we're seeing have some kind of relational connection deep beneath the surface of the earth. And it's said that the caldera that is here in the United States, which is the largest volcano on the planet, the caldera here that is at the Yosemite National Park. There is a caldera under it. And if you watch some of these shows that follow the Earth, like Earthmaster, that is another YouTube channel you might check out and subscribe to. Earthmaster, okay? They don't know me, but I'm referring you to them. Ain't I grand? Earthmaster, they cover the Earth and they focus on that caldera, as well as Mr. MBB 333. Write it down! MBB 333 on YouTube. That's right, Doug Rice recommending perfect strangers that don't even know I'm alive. God, I'm a good person. All right, folks, I want to get back to it. Yeah, this is Kuril Islands. There's a volcano in Italy. There's a volcano in Norway. There's a caldera in the United States. There's volcanoes all over the world, for goodness sakes. Okay, we'll just continue. Thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, share, whatever catches your eye. Do that right there.
There was recorded an ash emission at a height of 3 kilometers above sea level. The ash plume stretched eastward for a distance of more than 5 kilometers. Despite this, in the city of Severo-Kurilsk ashfall was not observed, and the odor of hydrogen sulfide was not felt. There is no threat for vital activity of the population. Scientists believe that a lava eruption of Abico is unlikely, as it belongs to ancient extinct volcanoes. However, Abico has an orange color code of danger for aviation. Pas-de-Calais, France. In the north of France, the aftermath of the massive floods that began last week in the department of Pas-de-Calais continues to be dealt with. Rescue services are underway. An orange alert has been declared in the region due to the rains and possible flooding. Schools and kindergartens were closed in 279 communes in the department. The streets of many towns were flooded, as were the basements of houses. Rivers overflowed their banks. According to forecasters, a slight lull is expected over the weekend, but the rains could resume as early as next week. French National Meteorological Service Meteo France said that the last 4 weeks have seen a record 215.4 millimeters of rainfall for France. The previous record, set in 1993, was 196.9 millimeters of rainfall.
All right, wait. Now, what is that telling you? There's a record rainfall in France, the likes of which record has not been broken since 1993? I mean, and you couple that with all that we're seeing across the globe. This is a carryover to the flooding that they had the previous week, and they expect more rain coming. Folks, what is happening? Last days is what we're witnessing. Look at that. I don't know, they spend a lot of time on France, don't they? A little bit. Don't you think they spend a lot of time on France? Oh, boy.
China.
Here we go. think they're used to
A
this?
cold wave caused by a frost cyclone hit northern cities and caused transportation chaos. Many roads became impassable and air.
A frost cyclone. A frost cyclone, which means a cyclone brings air, super cooled air from the stratosphere down to the Earth's surface in a matter of seconds, doing what you see right there. Folks, if this doesn't strike you as alarming, I don't know how your senses could be harming. I don't know.
Ports were forced to close. Nevertheless, some passengers decided not to put their plans on hold and went in search of other ways to reach their destinations. Some of them even took the opportunity to visit ski resorts that had sprung up on the frozen runways. United States.
There's a little time. There's nothing.
The USA has set a new record for the number of major natural disasters. In the first 8 months of this year, there were 23 natural disasters, the damage from which exceeded $1 billion.
All right, from the beginning of this year, 23 natural. Does that sound natural to you? Does that sound normal? Of course it's not normal. And notice that in coupling all of these occurrences together, now you begin to get a picture that we're in trouble. Well, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. We are fine. Negroes, you're fine. We're just looking at what's happening to them.
The total damage from natural disasters during this period amounted to $57.6 billion, and the number of deaths reached 253 people. In addition, experts note that this figure does not include damage from Tropical Storm Hilary in California and severe drought in the South and Midwest of the United States, as it has not yet been calculated. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has said that signs of climate change are visible across the country, and the pace of these changes will not slow down anytime soon. Experts believe that the U.S. must take additional measures to adapt to the increased frequency of natural disasters, as the situation will only get worse. The climate has already changed, and neither the built environment nor response systems are keeping up with those changes, said Craig Fugate, former director of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Among the natural disasters that occurred in the U.S. this year were a deadly firestorm in Hawaii and storm surge due to Hurricane Idalia. The list also included hailstorms, severe storms, and flooding that occurred across the U.S. in July and August. The department has been keeping track of natural disasters that cost $1 billion or more since 1980, making adjustments for inflation. However, experts note that the situation with the increasing frequency of natural disasters requires more active actions on the part of the state.
Okie dokie then, folkies. Let me ask you, that is the second series of days in the week that we're going through, the last 7 days. And I don't know, do you feel this is a natural occurrence? Is this a natural state of affairs? Do you think maybe there's some screwery going there? I was going to say something else, but I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying to eliminate certain things from my life. I'm of the mind that this is not just regular weather kind. This is something of special affection to the earth in connection with what? I don't know, perhaps the kingdom's birth. So there you have it. We're going all around the world. Okay. You tell me if you think, I'm looking at chat now. Tell me, give me a 1 if you think this is a prophetic occurrence. Give me a 2 if you think this is just weather on the natch. Nothing to see here. We're good. I just want to see what people think. Give me a 1 if you think this is a prophetic occurrence, the weather that we're seeing. We're going to go through some more. We got now coming up. We went to 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now we're going to go the days, the 16th and the 17th of November. And again, we are looking at last days. That is something I need you to remember. And here we go. Let me see what we can do. Oh, let me do this too. Got it. Yeah. So we're going to be looking at last days. I want you to remember that as we look, and please try not to get shook.
View of events for November 16th and 17th. Horn of Africa. In the Horn of Africa, heavy rains and flash floods have killed at least 111 people in recent weeks. Extreme weather conditions in the region in the northeast of the continent have displaced more than 770,000 people. Particularly hard hit Somalia, Kenya, and Ethiopia. The floods were the latest in a string of extreme weather events in the Horn of Africa. The region recently experienced one of the worst droughts in decades, followed by heavy downpours. According to the UN, millions of people in the Horn of Africa are at risk of starvation. The crisis is also being exacerbated by conflict and disease. Australia. An unexpected phenomenon occurred in several regions of Australia. A downpour with giant hail, the size of hen's eggs, fell from the sky. The hail was so strong that it caused temporary disruptions in transportation and damage to buildings. Rescue services are working in emergency mode to assist those affected. Residents are urged to be cautious for unusual natural phenomena. Meteorologists have declared an emergency warning for the surrounding areas. Shaanxi, China. In the province of Shaanxi, in the north of China, there was a large fire in the building of a coal plant. The number of victims of the fire increased to 26 people, and at least 38 people were injured. Rescuers managed to evacuate 63 people, of whom 51 were hospitalized. All mining firms in the leisure area where the accident occurred have been asked to suspend production. The rescue operation is ongoing, and the exact number of people who were in the building at the time of the fire is unknown. The causes of the tragedy are being determined. Florida, USA. Hurricane-force winds and torrential rains swept across the U.S. on Thursday, causing devastation in South Florida. Homes and streets were flooded and power lines were damaged. More than 100,000 homes and businesses were left without power and heat. Meteorologists reported that the height of precipitation was more than 30 centimeters, and the maximum wind speed reached 136 kilometers per hour. They also warned that the downpours would continue for 24 hours and bring up to 10 centimeters more rain. The storm will later move into the Carolinas. Ekaterinburg, Russia. Residents of Ekaterinburg are facing traffic chaos due to the snowfall, which began in mid-November. The city is covered with snow. Special equipment does not have time to clean the roads, which leads to car breakdowns and numerous accidents. Traffic jams have become a common phenomenon. The federal highway Ekaterinburg-Tyumen in the Sverdlovsk region had to be closed. Koltsovo Airport also did not escape problems. Flights were delayed. Amazon. The Amazon is the largest river in the world, surrounded by vast rainforests, but even it is prone to drought. The region is in its 5th month of drought, which has been particularly severe in the northern rainforest areas. Water levels in the Rio Negro, a northern tributary of the Amazon, fell last month to the lowest level ever recorded.
Excuse me, that did not simply escape my Negro notice. So you're saying a Rio Negro, eh? Is that what you're calling it? Okay, we'll just call it that. All right, I'll go back.
The effects of the drought are affecting forests. Travel and trade along the river system has slowed to a trickle. Brazil has closed its fourth largest hydroelectric plant, and drinking water rationing is being imposed in coastal cities. Key fish species are struggling to spawn, threatening local food supplies. Pink dolphins are endangered and dumped dead on riverbanks. With the return of the rainy season, river levels usually begin to recover, but scientists are predicting below average rainfall, which could make the region vulnerable again next year. Each successive blow, combined with continued deforestation and rising temperatures, undermines the Amazon's ability to recover and brings it closer to a tipping point where much of the rainforest could become savanna forever. The degradation of the Amazon will have consequences for the world's climate. Q. Vietnam. Vietnam's ancient city of Hue, a World Heritage Site and popular tourist destination, was inundated on Wednesday after heavy rains caused flooding. Thousands of houses were underwater. The heavy rains affected several provinces along the coast. More than 2,000 people evacuated from their homes in the central province, where authorities said 3 people were missing. Some sections of the national highway linking North and South Vietnam were also blocked by landslides due to flooding. Forecasters warned that water levels could remain high for another 2 days. According to official statistics, natural disasters, including floods and landslides, have killed 136 people in Vietnam this year. Scientists warn that extreme weather events in the world are becoming more intense due to climate change. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. In one of the largest cities in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, a temperature record has been broken, Latin American media report. According to local meteorological services, the air warmed up to 39 degrees the day before. Authorities explained that this figure does not reflect the real feeling of heat. According to meteorologists' calculations, the city residents felt the temperature as 58.5 degrees, which became the highest indicator in the history of weather observations for this city. The previous record was 58 degrees in February 2023. Because of the extreme heat in 15 states of Brazil, including the capital Brazil, declared the maximum level of danger. The heat wave has gripped many parts of the country and residents are advised to stay in the shade or in ventilated areas. Local publications are publishing tips on how to avoid heat stroke or cope with its consequences. People are trying to cool down with fans and air conditioners. Utility companies have already said that power grids cannot withstand the load. Astrakhan, Russia.
What's going on there? Oh, wow.
A part of a residential building collapsed in the Astrakhan region, killing 1 woman. There were no people under the rubble of the collapsed part of the house. All the residents have been identified. In connection with this, a state of emergency was introduced in the region. Rescuers of the Ministry of Emergency Situations and the Emergency Rescue Center of Astrakhan are working at the scene. According to preliminary data of the investigation, The incident occurred during construction and repair work in one of the apartments. A criminal case has been opened under articles on causing death by negligence and destruction of property. Dubai, Arab Emirates.
What is this? What is this? What?
On the night of Friday, November 17, 2023, the National Meteorology Center of the United Arab Emirates recorded heavy...
Tell me that looks normal, folks. This is what I wanted you to see, the gradual and the incremental weather destruction. That's not, no, come on, man. That's not, now look, anybody follow Dubai? Anybody been, not been, but Dubai is generally, I mean, they build islands in Dubai. This doesn't happen in Dubai. And this is just the, this is 16, 17. We haven't got to 18, 19, day before yesterday and yesterday. And as you can see, it seems to be almost evenly distributed. The mayhem, the carnage, the weather destruction, and just evenly coating the world all at the same time. And we're going to get to the localization of who's getting battered. We're going to talk about that. We're not going to let that escape our notice that, seems to be to specific groups of individuals. We know the conspiracy involving all the nations. Let's look a little bit more and let's get to whether or not we can connect those dots.
Heavy rains with thunderstorms in Dubai. Heavy rains with thunder, wind, and lightning hit the UAE around 5 a.m., but by midday, forecasters promised sunny weather for the population. The Dubai Roads and Transportation Authority has issued a warning about possible waterlogging of the main highway.
Possible waterlogging, maybe.
Motorists are advised to choose alternative routes. School children were transferred to distance learning, and heads of organizations were advised by the authorities to be flexible to employees and allow them to work from home. Dubai police have sent out an emergency notice.
Look at that! This is in Dubai. This is Thursday, folks. This is Thursday, just passed. This is Thursday.
Urging motorists to avoid areas that may be flooded. Drivers are advised to be cautious due to the rainy weather and to observe speed limits.
I don't know what that was. That's stupid.
North Ossetia, Russia.
Let's go to Russia.
A fire near the village of Mazur in North Ossetia has caused cancellation of classes at school and kindergarten. Dry wood has been burning near the settlement for the second day, but there is no threat to the village itself. However, the smoke has covered the entire gorge, and people are advised not to go outside unnecessarily and not to open windows.
Yeah, don't do that.
The fire is spreading along the steep mountain slope, and Emercom employees have not yet been able to start extinguishing it. There is no way to get there, but sentries are posted all around the perimeter of the fire's spread. At any moment, the fire could spread to residential buildings. According to eyewitnesses, the source of the fire was a short circuit of the power line in the Mazura area. Accordingly, dry vegetation immediately caught fire, and strong wind gusts contributed to the very rapid spread of the fire. Already 2,000 meters of dry vegetation has burned out, and it was only at dawn that firefighters risked climbing up the steep slope to manually fight the flames. Santa Catarina, Brazil.
Back to Brazil. That look normal to you? That look all right? That just looked like everything coupled with all the things that we've seen over the last few videos. And there's one more to go. So this is, we're coming toward the end of this one, but this is just from Sunday. Now we're on Thursday.
According to local authorities, major floods and landslides have left at least 21 people dead or missing in Santa Catarina County in Brazil. More than 1,600 people are in a critical situation as their homes and vehicles have been destroyed. The city of Presidente Getúlio was hit hardest by the elements, where floodwater levels reached people's shoulders. According to the meteorological station of the city, 125 millimeters of precipitation fell during the day. The city is located in a
Whoa, 125 millimeters of precipitation fell in a day. Somebody do the math, calculate that, and we're on our way, because that, coupled with all that we're watching, just doesn't make sense.
narrow valley and is surrounded by high mountains. In the neighboring city of Rio Grande do Sul, 90 millimeters of rain fell in 24 hours.
Whoa!
Roads, bridges, and social infrastructure were damaged throughout Santa Catarina County.
Devastating.
Iceland.
What's going on in Iceland? Oh, there they go. Now they got smoke.
Since the end of October, more than 24,000 seismic tremors have occurred in the southwest of Iceland, which may indicate an impending
Stop. Did you hear what they said? Since the end of October, in this one area where there are only 3,000 people lived, they no longer live there. 24,000 tremors? Does that seem natural? Does that seem everyday blase, everything's okay to you? Of course not.
eruption of the Fagradalsfjall volcano. The Icelandic Civil Protection and Emergency Management Service expects it to begin within days. The earthquakes have already created a 15-kilometer-long crack in the Earth's crust through which lava could...
Now, did you guys see that? Did you see that occurrence? Did you see that? Let's take a look at it again.
Volcano. The Icelandic Civil Protection and Emergency Management Service expects it to begin...
Those are the swarm. It's an earthquake swarm, November 2023, and every dot is a tremor.
And within days.
Look at that. But there's no 400-year prophecy. Do I have to bite off TL Ministries? Do I have to invoke Brother Yacoba? But no, there's no 400-year. There's no 400-year prophecy, though. Whoa! And it just keeps coming.
Earthquakes have already created a 15-kilometer-long crack in the Earth's...
Look at that! 15-kilometer crack.
Through which lava could begin to flow. The fault has cut through the center of the port city of Grindavik, 40 kilometers from Reykjavik. Local authorities have evacuated the entire population of the port, 4,000 people, and closed the area to people until further notice. It is expected that the volcanic eruption may cause serious consequences for the environment and local residents, so it is recommended to follow the local authorities' regulations and stay at a safe distance from the risk area.
You think? Wow. Look at the home structure.
Indonesia. An earthquake with a magnitude of 5.7 occurred off the coast of the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, reports the U.S. Geological Survey. The epicenter of the tremors was located 96 kilometers southeast of the city of Manado with a population of about 451 people. The source of the seismic event lay at a depth of 303 kilometers. Fluctuations of the Earth's crust were recorded at 23:20 Greenwich Mean Time. There was no information about casualties and destruction. Our planet.
All right, folks, our planet. Whose planet is it? It's not our planet. The planet belongs to the Most High God of all creation. We're just leasing with an option to buy. Listen, before time goes by, we got one more to go, one more collection of videos, and before we get to that last grouping, it seems kind of a weird locality. All these cataclysmic occurrences and happenings and whatnots going on. And if I weren't aware, or maybe astute, or maybe kind of keyed in on what's happening, I would think that this seems to be after just groups of individuals in specific areas, almost as if there's some sort of attributory factor to all of these happenings all throughout the earth, in Italy, in Russia, in New Orleans, all these places all over the place, all at once, all simultaneously. And look, I'm not saying that there's connective tissue between these two incidents, but we do have Psalms 83 to consider, don't we, Negroes? I think we do. All the nations conspired. Come, let us get together. Cause them to forget. No remembrance of themselves. Let's scatter them. Collectively, all the nations agreed, and some by default and omission, some by simply ignoring, some by saying nothing, did give their consent. And, that kind of collective conspiracy set against one group of people for the sole purpose of replacing them and causing them to forget themselves is an unforgivable offense. And so, let the judgment on the Gentile nations commence. That is what I am getting at. It seems that everywhere there is upheaval, weather-wise and earthquake-wise, and these other wises, I surmise, there were those that agreed to enslave people like you and me, so those people are getting exactly what they were prophesied to receive. It's a judgment of the Gentile nations, and what's interesting is you find some people on these social media platforms that will admit that this is a judgment against Gentiles, and some will go even further and admit that this is a direct result of the enslavement of Negro, because that's what this is. What we're looking at, the weather, what last days we're witnessing are those days exactly, the last days, the judgment against the Gentile nations for their enslavement of the Negro nation. And it's not that they enslaved us. I mean, that was prophesied. They just went a little too overboard in our God's eyes. And so they got to pay. And pay they will. And pay even more they've yet to pay still. So that's why I wanted to bring this up. That's the reason I thought it was apropos. I mean, don't you see they're paying so? Of course you do. You know. The cataclysms for the 18th and 19th are going to be the last review that we do, but I want you to consider how this phenomenon spreads as it does. And let us commence with it. Engagement. And we are going to get to the arrangement November 18th and 19th.
Sithonia, Greece.
Oh, shit.
Residents of the settlement of Metamorphosi, located on the Greek peninsula of Sithonia, have appealed to the authorities for help. Since the beginning of September 2023, the region has experienced record floods in the last few decades, which have claimed the lives of 16 people. Many residents have lost their homes and all their savings. They are asking for relocation to a safer area as they fear a repeat of similar disasters.
This is over the weekend.
Philippines.
Folks. Here we go.
A 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck the Philippines on Saturday.
Stop. 6 point what? Saturday? Wait, wasn't there another one like 5 point something? And then on the Sunday before, wasn't there another one like 4 point? It's almost like if you look at Earthmaster tells you that the undercarriage of the earth just below the surface, the earth shifts and moves in waves, almost like you putting a pebble in the middle of a still lake. You'll see as the earth quakes, all how how it shakes. But this just seems odd. Now the Philippines out of nowhere, 6.9 earthquake Saturday. Come on, folks.
Authorities put the death toll at 7 people. The Civil Defense Organization says 2 people were injured and 2 are reported missing. Dozens of homes have been destroyed, roads damaged, and there are power outages. Ceilings have collapsed in stores and department stores. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology says the epicenter of the quake was in the sea northwest of Sarangani Island on Friday around 4 p.m. local time at a depth of about 72 kilometers. The island is located about 1,700 kilometers south of the capital Manila. The Philippines is in the Pacific Ring of Fire, the most geologically active zone on Earth, where volcanic eruptions and earthquakes are frequent. In 1990, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake on the island of Luzon caused severe damage and killed more than 2,400 people.
Wow. That's the Philippines, folks.
Mexico.
Uh-oh.
Popocatépetl volcano. In Mexico, in the state of Puebla, renewed activity of the volcano Popocatépetl.
Excuse me, Italy. If you didn't see the explosion in Italy, it was another volcano. I forget in another area. I'm trying to connect the dots as the dots are connected beneath us. This is not normal. These are last days. We are watching.
Scientists recorded more than 1,000 minutes of high-frequency tremors, accompanied by the release of red-hot fragments and ash column to a height of about 10 kilometers. There was also a release of volcanic gas and water vapor, posing a threat to surrounding areas. Local authorities are preparing to evacuate residents of areas around the volcano in case of increased activity. Popocatépetl is one of Mexico's most active volcanoes and is under a yellow alert level. Located 70 kilometers southeast of Mexico City, it has erupted repeatedly over the centuries. Currently, the possibility of a major eruption has not been ruled out. Siberian District, Russia. A strong hurricane swept across Siberia, toppling trees and tearing roofs off houses.
Look at that. Look at that. That look normal to you? Look at that. What?
The cities of Altai Krai, Kemerovo, Omsk, and Novosibirsk regions were affected by the storm. In the settlements, there were problems with electricity. In Kemerovo, the hurricane felled trees, as well as demolished garbage cans and bus stops. On Kuznetsky Bridge, a streetcar stopped because of a tree that fell on a power line.
Now, you consider how strong the wind has to be blowing. And we're going to talk about that in closing. Folks, do you not see the consistency in the wind and the winds that are blowing around this planet? There's a reason why wind is the driving force that is pushing trees the size of these and buckling them to their knees.
Bauman Street, the roof of a building was torn off. In Novokuznetsk, an operational headquarters was created to eliminate the consequences of bad weather. In the city, roofs were destroyed, trees fell, power lines were torn off, stops and garbage containers were overturned. Emergency services have already started to restore power supply. In Mesdurchinsk, a heightened readiness mode has been declared. On the highway Kemerovo-Novokuznetsk, wind was blown gazelle. Kemerovo Hydrometeorological Center warns of wind growth to hurricane values up to 33 to 35 meters per second. The weather will be bad all day. Due to the fact that there are injured residents of Kemerovo should stay away from unreliable structures. It is better not to park cars near trees. Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The cyclone that hit the Arabian Peninsula brought long heavy rains to the United Arab Emirates, causing severe flooding in the streets of Dubai. This caused major traffic congestion and forced many companies to close their offices and trading floors. Dubai International Airport has been severely flooded with water, and parking lots have also fallen under flooding, with cars floating in the torrent of water. The situation in the region is critical. All city services are working in emergency mode. Despite this, the authorities are doing everything possible to ensure the safety of the population and minimize material damage.
They are not used to that, folks. Not used to that at all.
Terni, Primorsky Krai. Heavy precipitation cut off transportation links to 9 settlements in the Ternievsky district of Primorsky Krai. According to the Primorsky Administration for Hydrometeorology and Environmental Monitoring, the cyclone, which passed from November 16th to 18th, brought almost 3 months' worth of precipitation. In the village of Terni, Primorsky Krai, where 121 millimeters of precipitation fell with a monthly norm of 44 millimeters. Because of this, the water level in the Serebryanka River rose in the territory of Terni district. Works on restoration of passages are planned after water level recession. A storm warning is in effect in Primorai due to the approach of an active cyclone. On Saturday, interregional bus flights and air flights were canceled due to bad weather. Automobile communication was disrupted on 3 road sections. Taking into account that already in the next few days, the air temperature in the region will drop to sub-zero levels, at which the water will freeze, it can create an almost insoluble problem for residents. Forecasters predict heavy precipitation in the form of rain with snow, and snow in the northeast of the Krai will continue today, while in the rest of the Krai it will gradually stop.
Не буду снимать уже вот переобулся. Смотри.
Dominican Republic. Tropical downpours have hit the Dominican Republic, causing flooding and inundating the capital Santo Domingo. Hundreds of people have been evacuated. Residents are forced to navigate the streets waist deep in water. Dozens of homes have been destroyed, and an alert has been issued in almost all regions because of the possibility of landslides. Other provinces may also be affected. At the moment, there is no information about casualties and the scale of destruction.
Now look at that, folks. That's the Dominican Republic. I mean, we have been all over the globe these last few sightings. These visuals are, that we're looking at last days. It is a fact. This just from nowhere. That's not normal. That's not normal. Look at that. That's never happened before.
Istanbul, Turkey.
Back to Turkey.
A strong storm hit Turkey's Black Sea coast over the weekend of November 18th and 19th. Authorities declared an orange natural danger code in Ankara and Istanbul, as well as in other parts of the country due to heavy rain and strong winds. The population was warned of wind gusts that could reach 30 meters per second on the night of November 19th.
Wind, 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 wind. Folks, there is connective tissue between the wind that is blowing the waters all over the earth in all directions, all at the same time and simultaneously. There is a reason that there is wind at the base of this occurrence. We're going to finish this particular visual, and then we're going to talk about how the wind, what it is, how it plays into this, and why it's extremely important we pay attention.
The storm caused the destruction of a dry cargo ship that ran aground near the port of Eregli. The crew was evacuated, but another ship remained missing. Rescuers note that it is not possible to reach the lost ship due to weather conditions. After the storm subsides, helicopters will be sent to search for the missing ship.
Look at that, folks. Look at that devastation. Wow.
Kazakhstan. The prosecutor's office of Zilyoy district is investigating the oil leak at Tengiz Field, which occurred on November 12th, but it became known only the day before. This was announced by specialists of the Department of Ecology in Ataral region of Kazakhstan. Because of the underground leakage, 50 cubic meters of oil spilled between the oil tank farm and gas processing plant KTL. This is not the first case of oil spill in Tengiz Kevroil. In the past, there have already been facts of oil spills and environmental pollution. The perpetrators of the oil spill were brought to administrative responsibility under the order of the prosecutor's office of Zilyoy district in September this year. Sakhalin, Russia. Heavy rains occurred on Sakhalin, which caused overflow of local rivers, flooding in towns and villages of the island. Landslides occurred in the Nevelsk area due to heavy rains, as well as mud masses on the Nevelsk-Kolsk road. Traffic on some road sections was temporarily restricted. Waterlogging was also reported in Dolinsk and Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. Due to heavy precipitation in Aniva district, a high alert regime was declared. Extreme downpours were brought to Sakhalin by a cyclone that swirled near Primorai.
Here we go again. Winds,
Rio
cyclone.
Grande do Sul, Brazil. Floods continue in the state of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil. Due to heavy rains, the rivers are out of their banks. Strong streams of water easily carry away cars. Roads and bridges have been washed away. The authorities have imposed a state of emergency. Our planet.
All right then, folkies.
According to
Folkies, listen. I wanted to stop there. Let me tell you, folks, what we've been reviewing last days is what we were witnessing, and I want to recommend to you that you consider carefully a specific aspect of all that's involved in these last days we've been looking at. The wind. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the wind. The wind is possessive of personage. The winds that swirl about the earth are imbued, imbibed. They contain something within, amongst, and are something. And I'm going to explain it to you real simply. Now, we know there was a flood that took over the earth and destroyed all life except for the folks in the ark. There are countable stories throughout civilizations that mirror that story. What the flood did was cure the earth of the infection of the fallen, similarly to what it will do soon, to cure the earth of the infection of the fallen. We have a repeat of history on a much lesser scale than we had during the flood, but what occurred during the flood when those creatures, those Nephilim-infused, Nephilim-related, Nephilim-made individuals, when they died, that which was part of them that was spirit or angel, if you will, fallen, if you will, that was confined to the earth's atmosphere. Now, why do we know this is true? Well, I'll tell you why we know it's true, because when Daniel prayed in the lion's den, he prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. It took a minute. As I've said before, there is a delay in prayer. That's one of the reasons the Creator says to pray without ceasing. But as Daniel prayed, the angel arrived finally. The angel, always ready with an explanation, said, "Hey, I heard you upon you praying. As you started to pray, I wanted you to know that I heard you, but there's a canopy of evil that surrounds this planet. And I had to fight through the canopy of evil that surrounds this planet. And let me just tell you before I leave, that upon my exit, in an effort to me to leave, in order for me to get out of here, I have to fight through that same canopy of evil that envelops the earth. It's an unseen canopy of evil that we cannot perceive with our human fallible eyes. But let me give you some time frame. It took this being to fight through the leftover residue of beings that are confined to this space 7 days to be in front of Daniel's face. And it took him another 7 days to fight his way out. So can you imagine, as a spirit creature of God Almighty, which, the access to this place is more or less limited, because the ruler of this world is the lead unseen being that began this in some respect. And, a lot of what we see going on can be attributed to him. That can make that connect. So the winds are infused in some respect, are that unseen wind is associated with the unseen personage of those that were destroyed during the flood, the only leftover residue of their existence. And they are sentient. They are, in some respect, they must be conscious of themselves. And they go about the world blowing winds to and fro. And let me say this to you, Negro. We have a very short amount of time left. As time gets shorter, so do their temperaments. So do the things that they want to do, an expression of their hatred of humans. And I want to tell you about why these beings hate humans, these breaths of evil air that infect humans everywhere. All right. The fact that they were born in error is one thing, but then those that were in existence in perfect perpetuity and then chose to fall, they chose to rebel against the Creator. The anger against humans is that there was a savior provided to us, Yeshua, that equaled what was needed to reconcile our personage with God Almighty. And so, having not been perfect creatures, we have the opportunity to grow into perfect creatures. And that is what makes former perfect creatures extremely angry at their circumstances, so much so that they begged Enoch to deliver a message from them to the Most High, expressing the remorse they felt for making the decision, and so that decision to rebel against God. And so as we watch the winds blow about the planet and increasing in their strength, you have to associate those winds that push water in places they shouldn't be, that create cyclones, that create ice cyclones that instantly, what they are doing is taking out their frustrations on man while simultaneously fulfilling prophecy. In that all that is supposed to overcome the Gentile nations as they go into judgment is more or less a byproduct of the anger felt by unseen beings. Now, you got to have a leap of faith to understand the unseen beings aspect of what I'm saying. But if you don't understand that your eyes only pick up less than 1% of the visible light spectrum, then you may not have an understanding of what I'm saying. All around you, there is activity, and it involves these beings that are trapped here. And this weather that we've taken about, an hour and a half to look through is directly related to the frustration felt by these unseen beings as they know Almighty God approaches this place. And he approaches this place to cast them in Tartarus. He knows their judgment. They know their judgment is near. And so they are agitated and full of fear. And that is where the wind is attached to this occurrence. I want to thank you for showing up. I do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I wanted to do that. I wanted to have this expressed because we see the weather. We know how the weather is doing what it's doing. I do appreciate you being here, folks. It has been a pleasure. We are brought by Twidware, as you can see. It is a label that you can treasure. Go to twidware.com and get 10% off all apparel. I am going to split. I am out of here like Daryl. You know what I'm saying? I know you do. You know, I'm going to get this fixed at DougRice.com. Okay, I got chastised today by the moderator who said, if DougRice.com is not up yet, then don't confuse them. I'm not trying to confuse you. What you're looking at in closing, folks, is something prepared by a world-famous tagger. His name is Fatso. Made in 2007. I own the domain DougRice.com. I'm trying to get it to point to the DougRiceShow.com. If you like this show, do me a favor, let me know, and please offer your support to those things you see below, okay? The Cash App is the preferred edifice, of course, but hey, you use what you would like. I hope you enjoyed today's show, folks. My name's Doug Rice. I've had a few good shows today. I hope you choose to go look at them. Thank you for your support. I'm going to be out of here. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Remember, I say it because that's what I do. Y'all take it easy. Bye-bye.